You're listening to Inclusive AF with Jackye Clayton and Katee Van Horn.
Katee!
Jackye.
How are you doing?
I'm good. Happy New Year.
Welcome to the Inclusive AF 2022.
I'm really glad you said 22 because I thought you were going to say 21.
This probably is going to go out in March anyway. Happy New Year.
Yeah. When y'all hear this in August, it might not feel right, but it's cool.
We're going to talk like literally. I think the funniest thing posted ever was the fact that you went to Mexico at the beach and I was in Colorado in the snow.
And I do want to call out Michael Milotti, who tried to say that your vacation was better than mine. I'm like, I'm sorry. No, I don't like being cold.
I think it's that's so great because people need to know. Yes, we may be best friends, not clones of each other. I think we are the case study that you can be different and actually get along and love each other very much.
Yes. And also I've only skied once in my life and it was not great. It wasn't great. So this is a great story to kick off 2022. And then I'm going to make you redo because I think everyone needs to know the color of that lip. So we're going to have to do that in a minute again. So we did that before we recorded, but I think it's important if you're watching on YouTube for you to know the color of lip that Jackie's wearing because it's a very exceptional. So
sorry.
Okay. So first and last skiing trip.
First and last. Well, this was my second or third skiing trip.
That's good.
Now, the thing that was funny is that does it really count? They ask if you've skied before, but if you've skied like in high school, I mean, I'm pretty sure it's a 0.
I mean, that was only a year or two ago, right, Jack?
Yeah.
A year or two ago when I was in high school, I totally skied.
The thing that was funny, I need you to picture this. So first of all, the thought process is you have people who live in Colorado, hardcore skiers that are really into nature. And then because Texas is so close, you have all these Texans coming out that are all blinged out, like full whatever.
Yeah.
And historically, it's one of those sports. There's not a lot of Black kids. So I started skiing. There was an organization in Dallas of Black skiers. They were adults and they gave scholarships to all these young Black kids to go skiing. Okay. And it was the funniest thing because literally, I don't even know what people thought because we obviously were not skiers and there would be like 100 of us coming off this bus. Like, okay, we're ready to hit the slopes to learn skiing, which I'm so lucky and blessed. I'm going to give people that opportunity. I think there's so many things that we don't realize or we take for granted that we get opportunities to do, but don't realize how they can be life-changing in that moment. At the time, it was like, why would that be important? It was very nice to see. We skied on Christmas, just so you know, on Christmas Day. Santa was there.
Oh, well, good.
Snowboarding away, no reindeer, not sure what happened to that, but it definitely could have been a sitcom. It's like the Claytons do skiing. It was comical.
But, so have the kids skied before?
No. And I have beach babies, they were both born in Hollywood, Florida. They don't. So we got lessons, little family lessons. Aww. And if anybody knows my children, I tried to raise them with natural consequences and like, who am I to say you can't fly? Go ahead, go for it. Oh, you hurt your leg? I guess you can't. Like, right? So as soon as we get to the top of the hill, we finally get the green light to go to the top of the hill. And we're all get on the, whatever you call it.
Ski lift.
Yeah, that's it. As you can see, I'm a professional. I swear to God, if that dog doesn't stop honking that thing.
I was trying to ignore it, but it's very funny. Can we get the executive producer to take care of that, please?
I need the executive producer to do something with that dog.
Don't know what it is, but
don't know what, but make that stop. So we get to the top, and the instructor is like, "Where's Clay and TJ?" I'm like, "Probably." And then I was like, "Look, they're over there." He was like, "Oh, funny," because that's exactly where I was going to tell him not to go. Already halfway down.
And you're like, yes, so they are. So again, just another reinforcement. They are my children. Yes.
Right. Like, thank you for waiting for me, but really they are the first
whatever
concern.
you want. Yeah.
But we had a great time, and like we chose that opportunity because, you know, it was outside.
Yeah.
We felt better about what we were doing, and we had to use masks because it was freaking freezing.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely. Tell me about your trip.
So here's what's funny. So we went down to Rocky Point, Mexico, which is something that I've done since high school.
Oh my God. We were both in the Rockies.
Yeah. Well, the first day we got there was like 75 degrees. Okay.
You were freezing.
It was cold, which is funny. The second day was like 60 something. So yes, Emily and I were freezing. Emily's my sister.
Yes.
And then day 3, like to the point where we're out at one of the bars there, Wrecked on the Reef, which everybody that goes to Rocky Point knows. And like I had to buy a beanie, I had to buy a hoodie,
freaking parka.
I had to it was ridiculous on every level, but great people watching. Super fun people watching always. And, you know, I think the part that was interesting for me, and it's just something that like with COVID, you know, we were talking about COVID before we pressed record. We have an impact here in the States, and places that are destinations for people to go are hurting. Yes. And so every place we went, it was like the tip that you would normally give, you're doubling or tripling. And you're hearing stories from folks that are just like, okay, yeah, if everyone could just wear a mask, and if everyone could just get vaccinated, and if everyone could just do the things that we need to do to like get this done. And here's the thing, I think we all know it just is what it is. But it just,
didn't mean to
choke. Yeah, I am choking on every part of it, because it is like one of those things, like we could be done, but we're not. So we're going to be in the thick of it forever. But it was a very lovely unplug. We got our ions out by the ocean, you know, the negative ions that we all need. Yes. So that was good. And we did a little memorial situation. Emily had a minute to be on the beach, and I don't know if it's illegal to say what she did, because I don't think you're really supposed to cross borders with ashes, but she did. Just edit this out.
Emily, that was not me. Yeah, that was not. Don't blame me.
It wasn't my sister Emily. It was somebody else. So
named. Let's just call him Femily.
Femily. I was gonna try and do, what is that? Emily, yeah. How do you do the chicken? What is that language? That's
Pig Latin.
Pig Latin. Thank you. I was trying.
Emily. It's like Emily A, isn't it?
Yeah, Emily A. Yeah. So that really doesn't work. Okay. Yeah, I tried.
Well, I have to tell you, I'm gonna try to tell the story without laughing my eyelashes off, because.
Okay. Wait. Time out before you do.
See,
could you please share with our viewers? And this does mean viewers, not listeners, viewers. What is the lip color you have on? And again, if you are just listening, you should go to YouTube immediately and go check out the lips.
It's called Berry Provocative.
It is
Pure Color Envy. Berry by Estee Lauder. I love this. I can't remember where I found. I remember now. It was a sample, like in my mom's bathroom, because even though I'm like well in my 40s, I saw it and was like, "Oh, this is cute," a number of years ago, and put it on and started buying it. I love it. I love it.
And that's the type of stuff that you need to like have as your New Year starts.
A nice
is some really good lips. Yeah,
you do.
Like good lips are like really important for everyone involved. Anyhow,
so you have
tell me a story.
So I'm gonna try not to laugh. So one of the things that's really important, Clay is vegan. And so what I've noticed is you cannot last minute decide, oh, let's just grab something to eat, because you just don't know where to go. So,
Yes.
and also we have this freaking COVID thing, right? Like we were talking about. So it was like, we're out of town. We don't know the place. And so I pre-scheduled reservations to places to eat.
Good.
So Christmas Eve, we go to this place that not only has a price fix, like menu, vegan price fix menu, you also get to eat in these igloos. Right?
Oh, okay.
Okay. So everybody gets igloo. So the week before, my executive producer, or well, our executive producer called to see if we could get one of these igloo things, not an ice igloo. It's like a dome. And they had a windstorm. They had a windstorm the week before, and they were down to the last igloo, which made me laugh so hard. So we're like, okay, don't worry about it. They're like, if we can, we will. We're like, awesome. So we get there and we get one of the igloos, and it's freezing. It's literally like,
so yeah, there's no heat in them. It's literally just, is it?
Right.
It's
like
plastic.
A dome. Yeah, and
it's plastic.
Right.
Okay. Got it.
Like a see-through tent.
Yeah. Okay.
Shaped like a ladybug. So the funny thing is there was a heater on it, but our executive producer was sitting by the door, and we looked, and it was like, I think this is the one that they saved, because there was like visible tears in it.
Oh,
so on the one side we were freezing, and on the other side, like legs on fire,
melting.
So, but we're laughing at the ridiculousness that is, because the whole time it's like, we're going to take all of these precautions to make sure we're very safe, and we want to do all these things. So we're in this igloo. So what do you do? And so we're like laughing so hard. And then they immediately bring the food out, like not the appetizer, first course, charcuterie board. No, they bring like the two main meals. And then, and me and Todd have like nothing. So we just keep laughing. Clay has these two pigtails and this big hat because it's so cold.
Right.
And we could not stop laughing, and it was bad. And then we didn't get our food. And then we're like, wait, we didn't get our salad. And like, what about the charcuterie board? And then we felt bad because, you know, it's Christmas Eve.
Right. But
so we didn't want to be right. So we didn't want to be mean.
Those people. Yeah.
Right. So we're just laughing because it's so bad. Like, probably the most expensive meal I've ever paid for the absolute worst service. And we get to the end and they're like, y'all are so nice. Like, it's been so rough of a night. And we're like, it's okay, I understand. And they brought like our salads after dessert, and it said like, thank you for your patience, which made us all laugh, because you think that was patience. Don't mistake my smile for it's okay.
I hate all of you. I hate all of you. Thank you for stopping by.
You know, you left to keep from crying.
Was it a parlez-vous français? Was it French, like the salads at the end situation? No, not so much.
Nope. This was not a palate cleansing cheesecake salad. No.
Yeah.
No. And it's a price fix. Like, you know what we're going to order. It's one of these things. And it was like on a list.
And you know the order of the,
yeah.
Oh,
so then at the end, we felt bad. And we knew, because we've worked in the service industry, I've waited tables before, that, you know, it was ready. And what are you going to do? And you can't waste it and whatever. And so at the end, they said, well, you know, we're a new restaurant, so if you can leave a review. And at that point, we lost it. The four of us were on the floor, like, okay, now you're pushing it.
Us that? Yeah.
You're pushing it. Like, we didn't walk out.
Right.
Your tip is do better. But we did give a nice tip because, of course, like holiday breakfast, all those types of things you have to do. And it's really hard out there. But it was the funniest thing, all in the name of veganism and COVID safety. And we just we made that choice.
And also the service industry right now is just so,
it's so hard,
hot, messy.
A lot of places, I don't know if you saw this, a lot of places were adding the gratuity on purpose. They were adding gratuity where we were to pay the servers regardless, because otherwise, because you have you have other groups of people that it's too hard to go out to dinner. It's a special occasion. They might not have enough to tip.
Mm-hmm. Right.
It's just a mess, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's just a mess out there. And I don't know what this next wave is going to bring. I just don't know what it's going to bring. And I don't know. It's funny because we felt completely out of control last year, probably around the same time.
Yeah.
And, but at least we knew people were being safe. People were working remote.
Right.
People were staying in. And now it's like a free for all.
Well, okay. So actually I read something yesterday, and of course I'm saying that with the caveat that pretty much everything you read about COVID is like, you got to take with that.
Wait, yesterday? Totally different today.
So they were saying that like the COVID numbers aren't accurate because they aren't the actual, this Omicron version is not as potent. And so you can't count the numbers similarly to the first wave of COVID because people are getting it more quickly, like it's spreading more quickly,
right? But
it's not as bad.
So you can't call it the same as
Correct.
The other one.
Right. Well, like I'll tell you. So we do our family Christmas celebration the week before, which I think you and I've talked about before. Yeah. So from that situation, there's like, 30 of us, because I have like 300 siblings or something like that. I don't remember how many. 32,000 nieces and nephews. From that, I have 2 nephews, 2 brothers, 2 sisters, my mom, and who knows however many more folks that are positive for COVID. They're not, now they're better now. And my response to them, and I shouldn't say this, and I need to knock on wood when I do. I don't know if you know this, I got vaccinated and boosted. And oddly enough, I did not get sick, Jackye. I know that might shock you.
That's the thing. Like, I haven't been able to see my parents. People who've been listening to the show know my mother is in a nursing facility. My dad is older. My sister is there. But then when we came back, so this was the plan.
Hi, I'm Cole Napper, host of Directionally Correct, the #1 people analytics podcast in the world. Come check out our podcast that dives deep into topics like people analytics, workforce planning, and talent intelligence, helping leaders across the globe navigate the future of work with insight and a little bit of fun.
When we got back, we were going to go get tested, a rapid test, before going to my parents' house.
Mm-hmm.
And my sister, somebody tested positive. My sister's friend, who was double vaxxed and boosted, was getting surgery and found out in pre-surgery that they had COVID, asymptomatic, no symptoms. So they were exposed. And my mother in the nursing home was exposed. So then we were like doubly worried. So my sister says, we waited for 6 hours to get the 15-minute test, and it came back negative. Like, maybe it's easier in Waco. And I was like, yeah, because it doesn't exist in Waco. So let me see. We get to the place to go get tested. We decide we will go back up. But when we get there at 10 o'clock in the morning, they're like, this row of cars it's going to take 2 hours to do all of these cars. Like, you need to just go home.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And, and we are all sitting there like, wait, there's 50% vaccinated in the community. Like, we just came back from out of town. We want to make sure that we don't have, we don't risk because of all the things. Like, well, you're going to have to come back. And then we close at 6 o'clock. So anybody who's not in line at 2 o'clock, we have to cut off anyway. And then this was my own idiocy, like our own idiocy. Like, Todd's like, yeah, don't get mad at me, because there's not enough people here to like test all of these cars that are sitting in front of me. Right. And because we're trying to do the right thing. Like, we have our vaccination and we are boosted. We're just trying to make sure we don't spread it here. Like, don't be angry about it.
Don't be jerk faces. Yeah.
And it was already like Frank's, mufflers and COVID testing site. And I was like, maybe maybe. I was
You
like,
can get an oil change and a COVID
with the
test.
statistics, we could just run COVID in our front yard and be like, I think you have it. Not real sure though. Could be a false positive.
Well,
Could be a false negative.
That's the other thing. So that's the other one that I'll tell you is that, so my nephew, he got like a rapid test and it was positive. He got the 2-day test and it was negative. And so it's also like these false positive, false negative.
Correct.
That you're like, what in the world is going on? And so like, I don't know.
It's like, just stay home and stay in your house. We were, my fans were
always
so,
stay home.
Like we had double masks, we had hats, we had scarves, and all of our hands were like permanent, like just the driest, nastiest, crackiest things from all of the stuff. I think what was bothersome were the people that weren't being preventative that I saw out in the world.
And you just wonder like what the logic is. But okay. So on that note, I do want to talk about something.
Okay.
And it's coming up more and more. I think, we talked about this at the beginning when folks kind of sent everyone home, but I want to talk about remote work.
Yes.
And more about like, what are companies doing now? Because, like 2022 was kind of that we're going to bring everybody back to the office in 2022. And I don't see that happening in most companies, but I also would say, like, at what point do you just say, hey, we're all going to be remote and teach our managers how to manage folks remotely? Like,
I think
what
that should just be happening.
Right?
Because the other thing is that the mandate, because organizations are having to fully say you cannot come back to the office unless you have evidence that you're fully vaccinated.
Right.
And otherwise you have to be remote. But what's happening is then it's like a punishment for people who want to be remote. And so I think, I'm starting to see more collaboration software, and people are being remote, but it is a strain. I've talked to several people, as you know, because of my job, there are people that want to get back in the office and they just can't do it.
Right.
Which I've been at home for so long that I don't even know.
You're like, I don't
feel like.
Well, it's funny because, I'm talking to the folks that I'm working with now, and they're like, should we get some workspace like WeWork or whatever? And I'm like, theoretically, maybe, I don't know. Like, but I'm also like, I don't really want that. Like, I don't want to go anywhere.
Yeah,
I like working from home.
Only if you have to. The thing is like you have to make a determination if something is a have to situation, and then make that determination. But you don't want to put anybody in jeopardy. And then when you have a headquarters not in town,
right.
You know,
that's the thing. Like, it's so interesting, but I wonder what companies are doing. And I don't understand why, unless it's like a manufacturing plant or something where they physically have to be there to like put the widget together. Right. I don't get it. But I also would say even just the vaccine, like we know so many people, or I shouldn't say I know quite a few people that are like, I'm not doing that, which I don't understand, but it is what it is. Yeah. And so there's also this, at what point is it crossing the line? Like, I don't know. I don't know the answer to this one. I just know that I really wish everyone just would get vaccinated and that we would just start to see these numbers go down. But, hey, wishful. But like 2022, that's my wish.
And that's why it's the hybrid is what we're seeing into 2022, where it's like, if that is your preference. And a part of it is because of a couple of things. Statistically, and one of them is like depends on if they have their lease and they have this workspace that's just sitting there, and so they're giving people the option. Right.
And I think that's the other piece is like how much overhead is being spent on empty buildings right now, and like, but it's also, this is some of the things that we talked about at the very beginning, like the impact downstream that we weren't even considering. Like right now, I think one of the biggest downstream impacts is like kids and schools and teachers and
correct.
The mental health factors of children right now and teachers for that matter. And then layer on top of that, these completely asinine TikTok challenges of like hurting teachers or stealing something from the classrooms or whatever, which I do not understand what parent isn't beating their children if they do that. And I'm sorry, I'm advocating.
I don't think that's the answer.
I'm
but
advocating
I understand.
children being beaten if that is what they are doing. No, just kidding. Not really. But like this is also, it goes, it's also your children are not always right. And,
Yes.
like, I don't know how, I know that you shared a couple stories here about different things with schools, but my parents were both educators.
Right.
No, my parents, but like it was the teacher is always right, period.
Right.
And I don't know how it was.
It must have been lovely.
Well,
I'm just kidding.
I told
wonderful.
you. Yeah. Well, in 4th grade, I got in trouble by one of my teachers and I thought my parents were going to murder me, but,
not as a euphemism, like
no,
legit.
legit. Like there was fear, but I also had my dad as like my science teacher in 7th and 8th grade. I did get in trouble for passing a note to one of my friends in one of, I don't know if it was 7th or 8th grade. And it was literally like a wait till we get home situation.
Oh God. Dang.
Which, yeah. Well, and it's funny because my dad is like, was the most like gentle giant ever. And so it was also like everyone knew in the classroom, like you don't mess with him kind of thing. And
Right.
so it was like, literally like, we'll talk about this later. And I was like, oh, Nelly. Yeah, not great.
Well,
but
the
anyways.
thing that I'm concerned about, and I was just thinking about this, is that the people, one of the things that we're doing at where I work at Textio is like making sure that we're giving people money so that they can have their home office and get the things that they need.
Yes.
What I'm responsible for this, so it's happening at my company, I can't speak for everyone, is how that affects diversity and inclusion, making sure that you're holding people accountable. And the group that I'm most concerned about right now are introverts.
Yes.
And making sure that people feel heard, and also the time it takes for those different personality types that need time to think, right, before they process, which I don't do that very well, but I've heard that there's people who do that.
I've heard that too. Yes.
We've heard that. It's also why we have this podcast. Like we're the opposite of those two things, like, and I get very concerned about that. I think that we're going to see a lot of loud people get promoted and a lot of quiet people that may want to step up, not get those opportunities if people aren't helping.
Yeah. But I would also say that's kind of been the way it's been anyhow.
But now it's even worse, right?
Yes, it's amplified for sure.
And
absolutely.
There's people, I will never forget. So I've worked remote forever, but I remember getting a call once from a member of the exec team that says, I don't feel like they're working. It's like, what are you talking about? I just don't feel it. I went to my
psychic and I feel.
I just don't have the vibe. And it's like, what that's really a personality type,
Yes.
And I also think that people aren't understanding how you have to give more feedback and overshare than you would in the other ways, and having those rewards and making sure that your team is getting rewarded, because they will have absolutely no way of knowing if you don't share some of that information. So I think there needs to be regular feedback and asking and receiving feedback and giving more feedback. That's the problem. It's like from a HR perspective, we really have to check in a lot more, and employees are sick of it and feel like there's something underlying for why people are asking. But we really just need to know, especially during this great resignation. And the reason, the bottom line is that people have to feel engaged, that their work is important, and that they're being valued. And that's very difficult remote.
Can I clarify? Sorry.
Yes.
Can I clarify one thing?
Of course.
I think when we say feedback, people immediately go to constructive feedback. And what I would say is, you're talking about engagement, and it's stuff as simple as sending a message on Slack of, hey, good morning.
That's right. That's right.
How we doing?
Yeah. I'm
Like,
not even
it's not-
talking like,
Yeah, like it's not, it doesn't need to be super deep, but I think that it's like the touch points that you have with your employees have to shift slightly, because you're not seeing
Yes.
them in the hallway, by the water cooler, at lunch, whatever it might be. And so it's those touch points that I think are missing. But I also would say this is where the training of the managers is so critical.
yes.
Of, are you teaching them how to give feedback? Because I know, and I mean, this is such a thing, especially for like founders and like for really like the engineering brains of, they a lot of times are also introverted, or if they aren't, they don't want to be mean. And they think that giving feedback is mean. And I wish that we could somehow change that stigma, that it's not mean to tell people how they're doing, good and constructive. Like, hey, here are some things to be working on. Here's what you're kicking butt at. So I don't know.
No, I think I was saying at one of the things that I think I'm trying to implement, and I know that we have people at my organization that listen to the podcast, but when I think about accountability, especially with diversity and inclusion, I've started to try to build a program like getting away from being nice and getting into being kind, which includes that type of feedback. Like if somebody asks you if their dress is pretty and they're about to get hit by a bus, you need to tell them to get out of the way of the bus. Like, I don't care. That's me being kind right now. Or I could say, well, I don't know. Yellow was kind of a little, and then they're, gone, dead.
It's gone. Yeah.
So that's the difference, where you don't want to hurt somebody's feelings.
Your dress is beautiful. If you'd like to keep it that way,
if it'll make you get out of the way. Yeah. Like, I think your dress is ugly, just so they're mad, so they'll get out of the way of the bus, whatever it is.
Whatever
It's like a different way of thinking about it with feedback. Like, it might be nice to make sure somebody's feelings doesn't get hurt, but it's not kind to not forewarn them of maybe their work isn't what it needs to be, or they don't have those things. And I've spoken on this several times when I've done speaking presentations, and I think about it probably every day, that the only right response to feedback is thank you. Not saying that you don't have an opinion, but you just say thank you, you write it down, you call your BFF and say, holy
those
crap.
sons of mother.
Those freaking sugar. And then if you're lucky enough to have a BFF like Katie, they'll be like, well, they're kind of right. So then
you should think about that. Let's think about that for a moment.
If you don't have one, get you one. To be like, Katie one time said, oh, I think people think I'm mean. It was like, well, it's like, I'm not mean. You started
right.
It's like, okay, let's unpack it. But you have to learn how to get feedback and give feedback, so people will continue to give you feedback because they feel safe.
Yes. And I like your idea around the nice versus kind. And this is something that has come up a few times, I think, over the last year or two, that it is that, especially for women, we were told to be nice.
Right.
But it's not kind to say your dress is pretty when you're going to get hit by a bus. That's not kind.
That's not.
and so I think there's also like, it is the bias that we all hold. And I'm very guilty of this, that I have struggled in the past to give feedback to women because I don't want to be mean and I don't want to be too hard on them. And I have had to like go, but am I being mean, or am I actually giving them feedback that will help them?
That's right.
And I mean, you and I have had these conversations, and it's gone both ways. It hasn't been, you calling me and saying, hey, I need whatever. You do it to me all the time as well. Like, where we will say, okay, what are your thoughts on this? Or, hey, can you read something? Or, hey, can you check this out? Or what are your thoughts on how I handled this situation?
That's right.
And you and I have definitely done that. And which I appreciate so much, because I think it is you need to have people that are going to call you on your shit, and also people that will say, have you thought about it from this perspective? And this is also kind of where that diversity of thought comes into play, of like, I don't know if maybe those are the words I would use, because there are times, but maybe soften the I'm going to murder you part.
Not mean, maybe crabby. Maybe when you said that you were going to cut their throat, you could have changed that to I'm very upset.
I'm very upset. I will throat punch you. Two separate things. Throat
But I
punching,
think, if you are in this work, one of the things that like you do diversity work, one of the things that is important is that you have a shell that you have to, that if you've done it for a while, you can put on and take off. And so sometimes it can be confusing. Like, did I do that? Was that appropriate? Yes. How am I looking at it? Because you have to deal with so many different personalities and so many different groups that you can be confused on what hat to have on to move forward. And it's hard. It's confusing.
Absolutely. And it is always interesting for me, like with new clients, when they start asking questions and I'm like, wow, like it is good for me because it kind of brings me back to, okay, yeah, we're starting from this point where so many folks are further down the path. And so like getting back to well, can I say this to a team or should I say this to a team or can I announce this or whatever? And, being able to pull back from that and go, okay, folks, let's talk about that a little bit. And how do we want to think about that? And it's just different. So can we switch gears for a bit?
Wait, really quick though.
Oh yeah. What else?
Just when you're doing that, one of the things, especially if you are remote or hybrid, especially when you have underrepresented peoples, you have to help them not just with the feedback, but as part of your feedback, let them know how they can get promoted within the organization, because they can't do all the things that we were trained to do, going to the networking events, volunteering, being part of all these committees or whatever it is, different in different places, but also have a clear track. And HR has to help build that out for people when you're remote. And that's another part that's really hard, but you have to like double down on people that are like, okay, thank you. I have this opportunity, but I can't see what the executive team has done in the past or their activities. And so I don't know what it looks like to be in one of those management or leadership roles.
Amen. Yeah. And I think that's the piece that the reason why I just mentioned that it is like it's what you've been exposed to, what what you can do, what what connections, what network you have. And that's also why, I mean, you and I talk about this all the time. The networking piece for white people is so critical. Like I think about who's on your LinkedIn, think about who who you talk to on a daily basis, who you interact with. And I'm not even talking about social, like who do you hang out with on the weekends? I mean, who is in your network that is different than you are, that can go, hey, wow, Katee, you know what? I saw your post and that didn't feel great for me. And here's why, or whatever. But it's also when those opportunities come up, when those different, experiences come up, you can bring people to the table that haven't had that experience or that exposure before.
I had a breakdown, not a breakdown, I had a moment where everyone was like, assume positive intent. And I was like, no, it just came out of nowhere. Like a weird, like an itch. I was like, no, I don't assume positive intent. That's trouble for me. And people who look like me, I'm assume negative intent. And everybody's like, and all the, cute white people are just looking at me like, I don't understand. And it's like, you have to understand that me assuming that you're pulling me over because, I have a tail light out and that you're not going to shoot me is what gets me shot. Real talk. So no, I don't assume positive intent. And I can try, but it's a struggle. And there's other people here where that might be a struggle. Can we think of another way of phrasing that?
Hi there. I'm Peter Zollman. I'm a co-host of the Inside Job Boards and Recruitment Marketplaces podcast.
And I'm Stephen Rothberg, and I guess that makes me the other co-host.
Every other week, we're joined by guests from the world's leading job sites.
Together, we analyze news about general, niche, and aggregator job board and recruitment marketplaces sites.
Make sure you sign up and subscribe today.
So mine has always been, and with the assume positive intent, the counter to that, or the balance there, is assume positive intent, but recognize the impact of your actions or words. So it's sure, you can get pulled over and think everything's going to be sunshine and rainbows other than, a little ticket for your taillight being out. But you, as a police officer, as a law enforcement, whoever, have to know the impact of pulling someone of color over and knowing that the fear is so real and should be because of the, what they have seen and what has happened for years and years and years when people get pulled over. But it's also like, and that can be in any scenario, like in the corporate environment, when a woman is told you're too loud, you're too direct, you're too whatever, even as a white woman versus a black woman, that's a very different conversation. I have been told, we've talked about this. I'm very direct in my communication style, slightly. And I know that is different to be said to me. That is a different thing than it would be to say to you, because of the fact that like there is so much more weight to what you're carrying versus what I'm carrying.
Right. I'm nodding in case, because I'm like, people can't see me. And so that's why it's like, you have to.
They can. They're looking at your lipstick.
They are. They are. I think it's one of those, like when people say, think positive intent, you also have to look around the room and understand for who has that not historically been safe for.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why we have this over communication, oversharing. When you start feeling rumblings, finding out what it is, being transparent, letting people know, so that you have those things. That it's just one of those things. It was the first time that's feedback. Well, why can't we all, like when people say, can't we all just, hang out and have fun and be no.
First of all, I don't want to hang out with most people,
because I don't like you.
But I think this is also, this is the Minda Harts thing. So I saw recently an article about like lean in is dead. And I was like, it has been dead.
Yeah.
And like, there were so many nuggets in that book that were great, but also so many things that were like, what the hockey sticks are you talking about? See, that's me not cussing, turning over a new leaf in 2022. But then you had Minda Harts, right? The memo. And it was like, yeah, absolutely. This is great for white women to lean in or whatever. But how does that work for a black woman in the workplace? And it's not the same at all. Not even a little bit. And it's also like for a white woman that has a gazillion dollars and has a rich husband and has all these things, very different as well. And so it was on I'm on, a lot of groups on Facebook that are, just different technology things or whatever. And one of the women's groups that I'm on, they posted that article. And I said that the example I give of lean in, that like how completely just out of whack that book was the example that she gave of when she was pregnant. She went to Mark Zuckerberg and said, hey, it's really hard for me to walk across the parking lot because I'm so pregnant. We need to have parking spaces for women that are pregnant. And it was like one of those, like, so did you not see any other pregnant woman before then struggling with her laptop bag and all of the things? And so it's like that until it happens to you, it doesn't exist.
That's right.
And that's the part that I think people don't understand. But there's a lot of things wrong with lean in. And, hey, I'm glad that the book was written because I think it did create a momentum for women to think differently about how they show up in the workplace.
And the dialogue, for sure.
And the dialogue, absolutely. And I'm more happy that Minda Harts wrote the memo to say, that's cute, but also... But here's the thing. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Oh, you're a co-founder of Facebook and your life has been really hard. Tell me about that.
Yeah. Tell me about having to hire so many staff members to help you.
That'd be so weird. Yeah.
So
does she even talk like that? I like our version of that. And I hope she doesn't like.
So it's
Sue.
funny. She doesn't, but she doesn't. Oh, we could have a.
If anybody knows them, please tell them we are totally kidding.
I've heard her speak multiple times. She actually came to Work Human, I think, didn't she?
Yes. Yes.
We have heard, what I would like for them to do is, hopefully this year's Work Human will be different because I want to hear from different folks. Not that we have, I feel like that is one of my favorite conferences because we've gotten to see some amazing speakers. Anyhow. So shifting gears slightly.
Yes.
Here are my recommendations of things that people must watch today. Like go sit in front of your TV right now, even if you're working, I don't care. Just end your work
right now.
Whatever's going on, you need to go immediately. The new season of Queer Eye is out.
Okay. Yes, I saw that. I was like, I wondered if it was a new season. You were in love?
Yesterday, well, no, I just basically cried all day.
Really?
It was really good. It is really good. Because it's like, it's such a interesting like time. Like they're so good at like what the current event is, if that makes sense, like how this impacts things.
Yep.
So they had a young woman who grew up playing football, grew up like her dad was like, you're an athlete, you're an athlete, you're an athlete. She started to transition in her 20s and her dad stopped talking to her. And then they reunited as part of the week that, you know, she spent with the Fab Five. And it was like, so like touching, because he was like, I love you. I don't understand. And you've always been this boy athlete, all of the things that, you know, that's how I know you. And even when he was talking to Karamo, it was like, I don't know how to like transition my mind because you have expectations of what your child will be or what experiences they'll have. Mm-hmm. And that shifts. And I like, it just was like, holy moly. Like, it just was very, anyone who has a child, anyone, even, you know, straight, gay, any of the things, like you should watch this episode. But every single one, they had some kids that they didn't get to have a prom. And so they put on a prom for them. Like, it's just such a current event show in my mind. And they just do such a nice job. They had like a guy from Texas who is a Longhorn Wagyu beef guy.
Yeah.
Farmer? Farmer? Rancher. Thank you. But he breeds cows for beef. And he, like, it was kind of funny because at one point he's like, I'm going to be your Republican friend. And, you know, they were laughing about it. And they like, of course, are like the sweetest humans on the planet. But also like, you could tell his discomfort as they're even just giving hugs to him. And it was like, oh, this is the first gay person you've been around. This is the first non-binary person you've been around. And so it was just also so very interesting to see like the discomfort lift as this, you know, very manly, very masculine, I'm a rancher and, you know, yada, yada, yada. Then to have it be like, you're allowed to have feelings. You're allowed to actually be vulnerable. And we're not trying to have sex with you, even though we're gay. Turns out we actually are not interested, but thank you so much. And like, I mean, at one point, oh my goodness, Tan was like, cool, but I'm married, so we're good. Like literally the guy was thinking like, oh, he's going to try and get me or whatever. And you're like, oh my heavens. But like, it was also interesting because it was this is where we are in this country where you have folks that just don't get that this is normal and this is okay and this is safe and everyone is going to be okay. So highly recommend it. If you all haven't watched any of the series of Queer Eye, please, you know, watch all of them. That's all. That was my show recommendation of the day. I
wasn't watching anything. Like I was watching like the history of like Andrew Lloyd Webber. That's what I was doing this weekend. But I do recommend Tick Tick Boom. And like Tick Tick Boom was great. And Encanto, which I cried in Encanto and I saw it twice. I've seen it 3 times now. I've cried every time.
I've heard it. And so I'm not a Disney or Pixar person. Like I'm just not into like the cartoon.
And I plan on retiring, like going every year to Disney. Just another beach. You say tomato, I say tomato.
I've been to Disneyland once and possibly twice here in just a minute because that's a different conversation for a different day. But I think that's very exciting. I have been I've heard that Encanto is really, really good. And then there's another one, Bluey, that's actually like a cartoon that I've heard is very, very lovely. And they deal with some hard things like death and, you know, how do you, you know, for kids, like, how do you think about this and how do you talk about this? Andrew Lloyd Webber. So like, you guys are so good about like the music stuff. Like,
yeah. So it was just looking at the 80s and the time frames of things getting really, really big. And it was trying to talk about Phantom of the Opera because, you know, it was a book, Andrew Lloyd Webber. It's been on Broadway forever. And so they were trying to make people were trying to make other things at that same time period just as big, and they couldn't. And so we're just looking at like the history of the impact on Broadway because we're those dorks and love musical theater, and I can't help it. I love musical theater.
What is your favorite musical?
Right now I'm just feeling West Side Story, but I think my favorite is Book of Mormon.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah.
It is so freaking funny. But I love West Side Story. Wait, that's the one you have to see if you get an opportunity because they modernized West Side Story.
But it still has Rita Moreno, right?
Yes.
So cool.
It's so cute. But I think there are some things that bring it home, and we need it now more than ever of trying to understand. And they did some things that were very different that brought it into play. And this isn't a spoiler alert. I don't think it happened right at the very beginning when they are doing construction, because we didn't see that in the first West Side Story. But in this West Side Story, they were doing construction, like, and it was going to be Columbus Circle and the Lincoln Center. And then it was like, none of you are going to be here anyway.
Oh, wow.
When they started it, like they were like, both groups, you are not going to be able to live in Columbus Circle. Like it started with gentrification for both groups. Like that's how it started. And so there were some things that, I mean, and of course, Steven Spielberg is so subtle, right? It was just like, boom, like right in your face. And if you know anything about New York City and Columbus Circle, and then like Lincoln Center was not built for immigrant families.
No.
You know, and then why it was like they were fighting for different things and the impact and why it just made more sense.
Isn't that interesting though? Like,
and I cried. I hate it when you cry and you know the end, Katie. Like you already know how this is going to play out.
Yes. But I will tell you, so I go back and forth. So my favorite musical is probably My Fair Lady.
But My Fair Lady.
So, but then like from a family perspective, of course, you know, my last name is Van Horn. I don't know if you're aware.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you've heard of this one musical called The Sound of Music, which was, you know, a ex-nun.
Yeah. Oh my God. You are.
We are the Von Trapp family singers.
With those 1,300 kids.
So long. Farewell.
Auf Wiedersehen. Goodbye.
Yep.
That is funny. Yes. I love The Sound of Music.
So that was one that like we always watched. West Side Story was a little racy. So my mom wasn't quite on board with that. So that was one that we didn't really watch until I was older. And then my 8th grade year, we actually did you do plays in elementary school? Okay. So the play in elementary school was like a homage to musicals. And so they did, like our class did, I Want to Be in America. I want to be in America. Okay, right. Be in America. Okay. From West Side Story. And I just remember that I could not get the clapping down right. Like I could not get that rhythm. And so it was like a huge deal. So, but I need to watch West Side Story. It is one of it's a good one, but it is one of those, it's a hard one though too, because it is kind of sad.
Listen, you will not, no, you got to like watch it during the day with a thing of popcorn and a a soda and a box of tissues. Like you won't make it. You won't make it.
Well, that's how I feel about Queer Eye right now. Like, don't do it. Don't do it unless you are ready. It was actually really good to do it though yesterday. Like, first day of the year, like, okay, let's have a little cathartic cry.
Yes.
Over all the things. But anyhow. All right. So what else you got, Miss Jackye?
Well, there's that. Wait, but you've got an announcement. Didn't something cool happen to you recently, Katie? Do you want to tell the people?
No, what are you talking about? No.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, I just took on a job. So I am
welcome back.
Welcome back in-house. Yeah, people. So I am the new Chief People Officer for ChargeNet Stations. And I am super excited to be able to build an equitable culture and like actually put into practice all the things that I teach other companies to do from the ground up. I'm employee number 13. So it truly is like a huge build. And I'm super stoked about it because I think it's going to be really exciting. And the leadership team, the folks that I've met on the team, like everyone is just amazing. And so it'll be a fun one. And so, yeah, I'm super stoked about it. Scared to death, of course, because it is the no pressure to build a completely equitable environment. No pressure at all.
Right.
And it is also all of the pieces that, again, you and I have talked about of like, how do you think about recruiting? How do you think about all of these different things? Think about culture, think about writing values and just truly building out all the pieces. Which is exciting. And yeah, I'm stoked. So it'll be fun. So yeah, that's my big news.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And with that being said, I think we're going to call it today. Are you ready to call it?
Yeah, I am.
You want to just keep talking for like another 2 to 3
hours?
I
could do that. We have to catch up. We have so much.
This is our longest episode ever. Are you ready for the 3-hour episode of Inclusive AF?
It's the marathon episode, only stopping for bathroom breaks.
Yeah, 2022 marathon. So Jackye, going into 2022, I'm gonna switch it up a little bit. Normally we say, what's the one thing you want to take from this episode? I'm gonna switch it up for this episode and say, what's the one thing you're taking into 2022? And what's the one thing you're leaving behind?
Ooh, that's good.
Yeah, baby.
I am bringing forgiveness into 2022.
Nice.
Like for myself and others, and just try to be grateful in that. And what am I leaving into 2021? I think I'm just, I feel like just pressure like that I create for myself, right? Like that whole like I'm in a rush and I'm in a hurry and I create drama where there is none. Like it just, I don't know, makes me feel like the task at hand is so much better if it was a struggle to get there. So I'm just going to leave that behind and just go with the flow.
I like that. I like that a lot. I think that is actually, those are like, it's just goodness, because I think for so many of us, like you hear so much about like grind culture and all of these things. And so like being able to say, we're going to just make things happen.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be hard every single time.
That's right.
That's huge.
Yeah.
So for me in 2022, like we already have had an episode on goal writing and all of this fun stuff, but for me going into 2022, the word or the focus that I have is being intentional. And I think that I'm fairly intentional in like my work and what I do there, but being intentional in relationships and family dynamics and all of these things, like just that intentionality is something I definitely want to be more aware of and be more thoughtful about. What I'm leaving behind in 2021 is very similar to yours. Like it doesn't have to be hard. Everything doesn't have to be hard. Everything doesn't have to be a struggle. Because I obviously part of the going into this new role, there is a little bit of a weight off my shoulders of like, oh, I don't have to be a business owner anymore. I don't have to think about all of the things. And so I can focus on one thing, not really, because there's going to be a million things going on, but you get what I'm saying. And so it doesn't have to be so hard to get stuff done. But the intentional piece is really the one that I want to do better at and be better about.
I love that.
So for everyone listening, I would love for you to take a few minutes after you listen to this episode and think about what you want to leave behind in 2021 and what you want to pick up in 2022, because I think there are like, that's just take a moment to reflect, because I think that's also one of the pieces that we don't also, I don't think you or I do this, and I think we need to be better about it, is kind of celebrating what we've accomplished.
Right.
Like if you think about what you have done in this past year, holy Hannah, Batman, like it's huge. Right?
We made it.
Well, yeah.
And everybody listening, you made it.
You made it. Yeah. We made it to 2022.
You handled all that stuff that you thought, I have no idea how this is going to work out.
Right. And I think that's such a huge thing. And also like what we can accomplish in 2022 is huge for everyone listening, for all of us. Like, and yes, there will be times when we want to put it down and lay down and go curl up in a ball and take a nap. And that's okay. You're allowed. Yeah. Naps are good.
Naps are good.
Jackie is a big fan of the nap ministry.
That's right.
Following them.
I'm an usher of the nap ministry.
Yes, because it's so good. Every time they post on Instagram, I'm like, wait, what else? Read more. I want more. And so, yeah, the more we can be thoughtful about the work that we're doing and actually just take the time to also celebrate those wins.
All of them.
Every last one of them.
Yes, everything's progress. No such thing as a small win.
Even if it's just making your dog stop playing with that squeak toy. By the way, last item on the table, Penelope Louise has been in training, as I think some of you have heard. So she was supposed to come back this past Friday. He wanted a little additional time with my sweet little girl. Yeah. To reinforce the messages.
Oh my God.
It was actually funny. He like texted me and he was like, yeah, she's really good. Like when I have her attention, it's just hard to keep her attention. I said, oh, okay. So she's definitely a Van Horn. Like her aunts and her mom. Yeah. So anyways, so we are getting her back. It sounds like on Friday, but I actually get to go see her today.
Oh, fun. Take pictures, please.
I will. I feel like I haven't seen her in like 16 years, which is weird because she's only 8 months old.
Yeah, she's not even
I don't even know. Yeah. Anyways, happy New Year to everyone.
Happy New Year.
Thank you for listening to the Inclusive AF podcast. This is Katie Van Horn.
And I'm Jackye Clayton. Bye.
Bye.